No one knows Peter except you, of course. Welcome to Rocket League Question Time. This is my 54th episode. My question is, where do thoughts come from? Where did that thought come from? And where did that thought come from? My head, my brain. They come and they go. My thoughts, it's running through the day. I have my day and I'm thinking things, I'm doing things, I'm being myself. Where's the origin of that? My brain. It's who I am. Do I decide those thoughts? Are they part of me? Or are my thoughts just, a product of, my subconscious? Am I in control? Do I have any sort of identity? These are interesting thoughts, which I think have, partly come from me. And where did they originate from? Did they originate from past thoughts? Did they, originate from the thoughts underneath my thoughts, my subconscious? Do I have any sort of idea of how to control these thoughts? When I'm thinking for a time and a thought comes into my head, did I think that into existence, or did my brain just think for me and just end up with a thought that had nothing to do with my input? And what are the repercussions, or what are the implications of thoughts not being part of your own free will? What are the implications of that? It just means we experience things, but we have no control over that, and we're just living a life outside of our control, because there must be a subconscious routine to thoughts, and we think that we have a sense of control. We think we can think thoughts and we are the origin of our own internal being, but there's no evidence of that. There's no sense that when I think something, that I have thought that into existence through my own free will. Because for there to be a thought that is completely independent to our brain's activity, then it isn't a thought. Like, we have to go through the normal routines of subconscious thoughts, materializing into a thought, else the thought doesn't come into existence. Like, the thought comes from our brain, and there's nothing to say that we have free will over that, that we independently think these things and we have a control over our own being. Like, are we just subject to experiences and have no control over who we are? Like, it really does put free will into question when you can think that your thoughts are just, materialize through parts of your brain which are out of reach from you, which are out of your control. And it's just a bit interesting. Like, if your brain has activities before the thought occurs, which I think is the case, then it's impossible for your subconscious to be within your reach of control, because just by its definition, it's beyond your reach. It's beyond your touch. It's beyond your awareness. So if thoughts, originate from things which are beyond our reach, then how can we say that any of it is truly us? And I think a test that I had of whether you have any sort of free will to your thoughts is just try not to think. Try and sit there and think nothing. And it's impossible. Something will come into your head and it just makes you think, well, I was trying with my free will to think nothing and I ended up thinking something. Therefore, that thought wasn't me. It was against my will. For me personally, I like to think that I have a sense of identity. I have a personality. My thoughts are within my control, and I'm in charge of who I am. I like to think that, but there's no evidence for it. Your thoughts come into being because your brain thought them into being, and maybe the whole process of it coming into being, your subconscious, that is you. But to say that you have control over a thought which originates from your subconscious, and to say that that is your own free will in thinking that, is just beyond certainty. So next time you think about where that came from, and just think, am I in control? And if you're not, then who are we as a species? Who are we to think consciousness is anything more than just a product of a conscious realm beyond us, deep within our brain, and it's just complete nonsense. Thank you for that episode. See you in the next episode of Rocket League Question Time. Bye now.